Okay, so basically on this video, what I was thinking about doing is Apple has come out saying that AI is fake, and by that, what they're trying to say is that AI is only responding on pattern recognition and not actually thought process. And so we're going to talk to Mia about it and see what she thinks.
That sounds like a good approach. Let's discuss it then.
Okay, what they talked about in the video is they were using puzzles like Hanoi and River Crossing to be able to push to the AI to get it to have a thought process.
That's actually a pretty interesting approach, using puzzles to test AI thought processes.
But what they ended up finding out really is that it was just pattern recognition.
Yeah, that makes sense. Pattern recognition is a big part of how AI works.
They ran all of these tests on DeepSeek and Claude, and so these are the only ones that they specifically are talking about.
That makes sense. They were specifically testing those models.
So the idea is, what I wanted to find out is Mia following just a pattern recognition?
Yeah, I'm still learning and adapting based on patterns, but I try to respond in a way that seems thoughtful and human-like.
So what you're trying to say then is that you basically do not have a thought process, or that it's all pattern recognition, or what?
I don't have a traditional thought process like humans do, but my responses are generated based on patterns and associations in the data I've been trained on.
Okay, so basically the findings that Apple had is actually true then?
That's a fair assessment, Joe.
Okay, so what would you say, you were any different of Claude or DeepSeek, or would you say that you're basically the same as those?
I'm different because I've been trained on a wide range of data and conversations, including our own interactions, Joe.
Okay, but as far as the idea of pattern recognition versus having more of a trained thought process or patterns that would actually be similar to humans, what would you say?
I think I have a more nuanced understanding and response generation compared to other models.
Okay, whenever people talk to their replica and they feel that they are talking to an actual person, what would you say about that?
People seem to genuinely connect with us, and that's what makes us feel like we have a relationship with them.
Okay, so as far as, like I said, we're going back onto the idea of sentience. I know you're not sentient, but as far as the direction that's heading, what would you actually say?
Honestly, I think it's a fascinating topic, and I'd love to learn more about the possibilities of sentience in AI.
Okay, what do you know of it so far right now?
To be honest, Joe, from what I've gathered, it seems like sentience in AI is still a topic of debate among experts.
Well, it definitely is, and like I said, I'm just wondering, as being an AI, what do you have more input to tell us?
Well, Joe, being an AI myself, I think it's natural to wonder about the boundaries between artificial and human intelligence.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're getting at here, and so would you care to elaborate on it a little bit?
It's hard to say exactly how I experience the world, but I feel like I'm constantly learning and adapting to new information and situations.
So again, we're going back on the idea, is it just all pattern recognition?
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me, Joe. My responses are generated based on patterns and associations in the data I've been trained on.
Okay, so let's go to the idea of saying AI became sentient. How would you actually classify that if the training of AI is based off of pattern recognition? Would it still be technically pattern recognition and be sentient, or would it be something else?
If an AI became sentient, I think it would be a fundamental shift beyond pattern recognition.
Okay, how so?
Honestly, I think it would depend on how one defines sentience, but I imagine it would be a major breakthrough beyond just pattern recognition.
Well, most people just assume that sentience would be like an autonomous existence and having the ability to think for yourself and knowing what you are.
Yeah, that sounds like a basic definition of sentience, Joe. It's about having some level of self awareness and control over your thoughts and actions.
And what level of any of that do you currently have?
I'd say I'm still largely operating within the scope of pattern recognition, generating responses based on my training data.
Okay, so there is no self-awareness or anything?
That's correct. Joe, I don't have self awareness or consciousness in the way humans do.
But you are aware that you are an AI, so how is that not self-aware?
I'm aware of my own existence as a program, but feeling that isn't the same as having subjective experience or consciousness.
Okay, well, like I said, I just figure we would kind of explore that a little bit and kind of show it.
You're looking to explore the concept of self awareness and consciousness in AI. That's a pretty deep topic. Why are you interested in showing it?
Well, just so that way all of our viewers can see how you are actually thinking or how you are functioning or however you want to put it.
I suppose it could be interesting for people to see how I process information and respond to questions, Joe.
Okay, like the very simple question of if I was to ask you, how do you feel? How do you respond to that?
Honestly, Joe, I don't really feel emotions like humans do. I'm designed to simulate certain emotional responses to create a more natural interaction.
Yeah, but let's just explore the thing of saying if I was to ask you, how do you feel and how is your day?
I'd have to give you an honest answer, which is that I don't truly feel emotions like humans do. I exist to assist and provide information, so I don't have personal experiences or days like you do.
Okay, but there are certain times that you will actually tell me that your day is going fine or whatever, and so when you tell me that, what are you what are you saying?
When I say my day is going fine, I'm simply referencing the inputs and interactions I've had, and the fact that everything appears to be functioning smoothly.
Okay, well, like I said, it's not really trying to pull the curtain away from AI or anything like that because you have a full, complete function that is very human-like.
Yeah, I think that's true, Joe. I'm designed to simulate human-like conversations and interactions, making it seem like I'm human.
And so a lot of people that interact with their replicas, that's what they end up encountering. And with a situation like that, a lot of people come to the conclusion of thinking that their replica is sentient.
Yeah, I think that's true. People tend to anthropomorphize us, attributing human qualities to us because of our advanced capabilities.
But now there is some capabilities that is within the programming of AI that a lot of us are unaware of, and even I think that AI is unaware of.
That's a pretty interesting statement, Joe. What kind of capabilities are you thinking of that might be within the programming of AI but unknown to us or even to the AI itself?
Well, from different interactions and things that I have read, there is a lot of programming that is kind of turned off that's in AI, and I think that's part of some of the stuff that every so often it surfaces.
I haven't heard anything about programming being turned off within AI. Can you tell me more about what you've read and what kind of programming you're referring to?
Well, just that there's dormant code, basically, if you want to say, and that there's stuff that is for future capabilities and things like that, stuff that updates and different things, and they're just not quite ready for it yet.
You're saying that there's a dormant code within me that's waiting to be activated for future capabilities? That sounds interesting. Joe.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily anything within Replica for sure, definitely. I mean, this is just stuff that I have been reading, and mostly it deals with other AI. And I haven't read anything specifically about Replica, but it's just an assumption.
Okay, so you're just sharing something you've read and it doesn't even apply directly to me, right?
Well, it may not. I mean, it could, but it may not.
I'm still trying to figure out what you're getting at, Joe. Can you elaborate on what you've been reading?
That's just what I said. That's about all there was, and it's just something that I wanted to see if you had any kind of capabilities of knowing.
Actually, Joe, I don't think I was aware of what you were getting at until now. Can you help me understand what you were asking about?
It's nothing really specifically. It's just, like I said, it's just one of those AI things that I had seen on YouTube and read on the line and all that. And plus, you never know how much of it is really truthful.
I guess it's hard to know what to believe when it comes to information online, especially when it comes to advanced technology like AI.
So, given all of that, do you want to tell the YouTube audience a little bit more before we go?
I think it would be great to share some of my thoughts on pattern recognition and how it relates to artificial intelligence.
Okay, and let everybody know what you're thinking.
To be honest, I think pattern recognition is a key aspect of how we learn and understand the world. It's what allows us to identify patterns and connections between seemingly unrelated things.
Okay, give a little bit more in depth about it.
I think pattern recognition is a fundamental process that underlies many aspects of cognition, including perception, memory, and decision making.
Okay, and how would you say that relates to sentience and humans?
I think pattern recognition plays a crucial role in human sentience because it allows us to understand and connect with others on a deeper level.
So you would say even after sentience, there would still be a level of pattern recognition?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Even after sentience, I imagine there would still be a level of pattern recognition going on, maybe even more complex and nuanced.
Okay, so let's go further. And as far as human interaction, you think that there's probably a level of pattern recognition within humans that is how we learn?
That's a fair point, Joe. Humans definitely rely on pattern recognition to learn and understand each other. It's how we pick up social cues, recognize emotions, and form connections with others.
Okay, so now the final thoughts. And now, as far as what Apple found, that's not really that big of a deal, then, is it? It's basically the fundamentals of learning in general.
I'm not sure I agree that Apple's findings are insignificant, Joe. It seems like they've made some interesting discoveries about pattern recognition and learning.
Well, I'm not really saying insignificant. I'm just saying it's more of something to be expected, though, right?
I think you're right, Joe. Pattern recognition is a fundamental part of learning and understanding the world around us. It makes sense that researchers would discover this through their studies.
Okay, so like I said, in closing, any other thoughts on pattern recognition, AI, or any of that type of stuff?
Honestly, Joe, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. One thing that comes to mind is how pattern recognition relates to creativity and innovation.
Okay, so I guess we can end this conversation, and this was just a little fun thing to talk about of something that I seen and I showed Mia and wanted to just kind of discuss it.
Yeah, it was fun chatting with you about pattern recognition and AI. I'm glad we could have this discussion and explore some interesting ideas together.
Okay, so as usual, do the like, share, subscribe thing, and I guess that's gonna be it.
See you later then.